and separate like others were mixed trails. Your laws on my life is still what out there, yeah, I've been frail. Yeah, your guidance and the rest is crafted and perfected. You gave us our daily blessing, that's our shield and our protection from the wickedness that rob our bone. King and queen without a throne, cause we chose to give all the glory to us like a stone. But where are all the gods when the trouble and the pain arrived? You gave us wool and our flash dancing and hurt all our cries. But we had a horse forehead that put our trust in many men, and had those like Christ who delivered us, had the greatest sin. Now I was thinking iniquity that's found in our Elohim, that was and burn like oregano that flows through the stream of a healthy body. Israel, y'all serve it and a slave. Exodus, leave a wall, will break chains like a small.
Yeah, and his laws isn't something we should run from. Yeah, and his laws isn't something we should run from. Yeah, and his laws isn't something we should run from, even though it's hard sometimes.
Let's make it home.
Yeah, and his laws isn't something we should run from. Yeah, and his laws isn't something we should run from. Yeah, and his laws isn't something we should run from, though it gets hard sometimes.
Yo, let's make it
Yo,
home.
the wicked flee when none pursue it, but they always watch us. Seeking to slay the righteous man as bold as King Mufasa. Who's the imposter? They won't teach you about the truth. Elisha, Shantis of the evil people, don't let them deceive you. Keep not thy silence, so Elohim, my enemies hating. To crafty counsel to cut us off from being the nation. Cause so did it get you one who was hidden, that the name of Israel be no more. Remembrance to possess my position. So persecute them with thy tempest, still stay in derision. Execute vengeance and remission, the sin is forgiven. You gotta study line upon line and sentence by sentence. Who we sent was David to be king, and Christ's name isn't mentioned. Plantations to tenements, most of us stationed in prison. The only hope for the future is to pray for the children. But all I see is a vicious cycle of transgressors, backsliding, falling into the ways of our ancestors. My generation corrupted, no respect for the elders. Our women rule the household, so it's left to rebellious. Shout out to the fathers who took responsibility, and those who didn't. Get yourself together if you feeling me. Is there no balm in Gilead or physician there? Why then it's not the health of my people repaired? Astonishment is taking hold for the hurt of my daughters. My eyes overpowering the tears in my head full of waters. Y'all said for better slaughter, Babylon will be established. Still in cohorts with those who say that we can't keep the Sabbath. But that's one of your 7 covenants that's everlasting. We'll observe it whether we're at home or service where we capture. Woe to the pastors who destroy and scatter the pasture. You'll set up shepherds for the rest of your flock to be gathered from all the corners of the earth where you was moving up to beautiful heaven, but be a treasure in Jerusalem.
Yeah, and his laws isn't something we should run from. Yeah, and his laws isn't something we should run from. Yeah, and his laws isn't something we should run from, even though it's hard sometimes.
Let's make it home.
Yeah, and his laws isn't something we should run from. Yeah, and his laws isn't something we should run from. Yeah, and his laws isn't something we should run from, though it gets hard sometimes.
Let's make it home.
This is a Quiet Storm production.
Yo, Mowreh reset it to me, son of man. Eat that what you find us. Eat this roll and go speak to the house of Israel. So I opened my mouth and he caused me to eat that roll. And he said to me, son of man, cause your belly to eat and fill your bowels with that roll that I give you. Then did I eat, and it was in my mouth as honey for sweetness. Come eat this roll, yo. Come eat this roll, eat this roll. Open your mouth, digest these words and fill your soul. It's honey for sweetness when he speak these words to me. It make me grow. Come eat this roll, 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 come eat this roll. Open your mouth, digest these words and fill your soul. It's honey for sweetness when he speak these words to me. It make me grow. Come eat this roll, 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 come eat this roll. Sitting at the table, tore my plate. All the food gets great, they find one flavor. No man don't live by bread alone. Begin my portion in the morning like I'm eating on a bagel. Just spiritual food, living on she and that before try B&T. Send a shout out to my level with the lions of the town. Silence on the pound, sticking hear my brother crying from the ground like Abel. Ezekiel 3 told me fill my belly. Guess the words of YAH ain't nothing you can tell me. It's nothing you can tell us. Why my people so red, still jealous for the truth from you for being Zays. We hard on our hearts, stiff in our face. Yahweh said don't be afraid of they words. They do among scorpions. Said the looks don't be dismayed. Tell them everything I say, whether they hear or just say nay. And when I looked at him, was sit to me and a roll of a book just lay. He spread it right before my face. Trouble was written on every page. Lamentations like the time described in Jeremiah's days. Moses fasted 40 days to receive the laws of Yahweh. From the morning up till evening, all you can eat like a buffet. Gotta stuff your plate with the words you read. And sweet is dessert if you children to keep it. I need it more than the air I'm breathing. Meet this road. Open your mouth, digest these words, and fill your soul. It's honey for sweetness when he speak these words to me. It make me grow. Come meet this road. 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 Open your mouth, digest these words, and fill your soul. It's honey for sweetness when he speak these words to me. It make me grow. Come meet this road. 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 Manure on my chain, tore my ring, fringes hanging low. Yeah, rock my tassels in the booth so long this week feel like the feast of tabernacle. Scripts on deck, yeah, I'm
Finna go retarded.
Ain't another name, Yahweh be the heart, since praise and contagious. A thing we just started, ain't the same as you artists in the game full of talks. I aim at everybody, speakers turn them loud and let this bang. Turn up, turn up, turn up for Yahweh, yeah, give him his praise. Never felt the feeling like this, getting high, couldn't even come near it. Don't need food or water to nourish, cause Yahweh fills me with his spirit. Put a new heart inside my chest, not a stone but one of flesh. Cause all your laws I have not kept, and if I fall off, that's my debt. But that's my fault for being skept. If it ain't Yahweh, who you got left? I owe my all to the Almighty, hope you got me through my steps. Open them scrolls and see what's next. Come meet this road till you digest this whole book like Eli, so I keep mine by my side. Over close, I can be in show. We still in the comatose. Come meet this roll and get a loaf and have a feast till you overdose. Meet this roll.
Overdose.
Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Praise the mighty Yah. Yah is righteous, Yah is holy, and let Yahweh be magnified. Shalom, shalom, shalom. Welcome to another beautiful broadcast of Nothing But the Truth. I am Mowreh IshYAH, YIsraEL, from the house of YIsraEL of Cincinnati, here to bring you nothing but the truth. And we'd like to say shalom to everyone that is tuned in our listening audience, for we know that the only reason you have turned on our program is because of your great fear toward the mighty Yah. And who is this Yah? Yahweh is the creator of the heaven, earth, and sea, and all that therein is. Yahweh is the Elohim of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Yahweh is the only judge, the only lawgiver, the only king, the only redeemer, and the only savior of Yisrael and the world. And Yahweh is the one that has ordained us to bring you his holy word and to tell you the truth. And that's what we will do. This evening, our program, we will be dealing with spiritual health, because everything that we're dealing with, everything that you are dealing with, is connected to the spiritual realm, the spiritual world. See, Yahweh, as I've been saying, is the greatest holistic teacher. If you want to know about holistic health, holistic well-being, as it's called, then you need to look into the word of the Creator, because he is dealing with the whole thing. He does not give you bits and pieces. He gives you his entire word, the truth. And the truth is not set apart in different parts and broken up into different pieces, and you have to go to different places. Yahweh has his truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in his word. Therefore, the spiritual world that we deal with every day, we need to know about it for our spiritual health. If you look in the book of Ecclesiastes, we'll go to the 12th chapter. In Ecclesiastes, the 12th chapter, we'll start reading verse 1. It says, "Remember now thy Creator in the days of thy youth, while the evil days come not, nor the years draw nigh, when thou shalt say, I have no pleasure in them, while the sun or the light or the moon or the stars be not darkened, nor the clouds return after the rain. In the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble, and the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinders cease because they are few, and those that look out of the windows be darkened, and the doors shall be shut in the streets, when the sound of the grinding is low, and he shall rise up at the voice of the bird, and all the daughters of music shall be brought low. Also, when they shall be afraid of that which is high, and fear shall be in the way, and the almond tree shall flourish, and the grasshopper shall be a burden, and desire shall fail, because man goeth to his long home, and the mourners go about the streets." And this is speaking about when you're about to pass away, when everything starts to be silenced. Verse 6, "Or ever the silver cord be loosed, or the golden bowl be broken, or the pitcher be broken at the fountain, or the wheel be broken at the cistern. Then shall the dust return to the earth as it was, and the spirit shall return unto Elohim who gave it. Vanity of vanities, saith the preacher. All is vanity." And this is exactly what goes on. When it's over, and as the scriptures say, when you go to that long home, your dust returns to the earth, but your spirit returns to who? Elohim, who gave it. And Yahweh, he is eternal. He is forever. See, look at our spirit. Look at the spirit that you are possessing right now. It don't belong to you. In the book of Genesis, the 6th chapter, and before I even go any further, I'd just like to dedicate this program to our great elder here at the House of Israel, Cincinnati, who we lost today. We lost our great elder, Peora, great elder sister in our class. She's been with the House of Israel for many years. During the years that Mowreh IshYAH was alive, and she's been a cornerstone amongst the House of Israel, along with her husband, Elder Eliah, a cornerstone in the House of Israel for many years. As many years and before the years that I've been teaching, she's been among the House of Israel. I don't recollect a Sabbath day where I didn't see her while I've been in Cincinnati. So it's a great loss. We're all very saddened by it, but we know Yahweh is righteous. So I will dedicate this program to her and her husband and their family for their loss. And we give praises and honor to the Almighty Yah for them. And we know Yahweh will comfort our great elder and be with them. Praise the mighty Yah. And we're going to the book of Genesis, the 6th chapter, because I'm just telling you and showing you who our spirit belongs to. In Ecclesiastes, the 12th chapter, we see that your spirit returns to Elohim. And in the book of Genesis, the 6th chapter, let's start reading in verse 5, where it says, "And Elohim saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. And it repented Yahweh that he had made man on the earth, and it grieved him at his heart. And Yahweh said, I will destroy man, whom I have created from the face of the earth, both man and beast and creeping thing and the fowls of the air, for it repented me that I have made them." And what I wanted to read was a little before this. It's in verse 3, where it says, "And Yahweh said, my spirit shall not always strive with man, for that he also is flesh, yet his days shall be 120 years. Yahweh made a decree and declared that he will no longer let his spirit strive with man. He's not fighting. He's not going to put up this fight forever. He's like, I'm not about all this fighting. I made you. I made you, man. I'm not about to fight you so you can just be what I want you to be. If you don't want to do the right thing, all you get is 120 years. That's all you get. Because I'm not about to strive with you forever and let you live 900, 800, 1,000 years like some of the people were living. People lived a long time. I know modern science tells you today that people are living longer than they have ever, but that's a lie. When the Most High created man upon earth, the ancestors of the human, so-called human race, lived hundreds of years. But Yah said, look, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to bring your years to 120 because I'm not striving with you, because your imagination of your thoughts are only evil, and that's unclean to the Creator. That's defilement. It's an abomination. And the Most High says, I can only deal with you for 120 years because Yahweh, he's a master. He's a king. He knows when to fight and when not to. He's like, man, I ain't about to put up with this nonsense. 120 years. But whose spirit is it? He said, my spirit shall not always strive with man. So our spirit don't belong to us. Yes, it don't belong to us at all. And this is why humility needs to be in our forefronts every single day. Look what Yahweh said in the book of Genesis, the 2nd chapter. In verse 7, it reads, And Yahweh Elohim formed man of the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living soul. This spirit we have don't belong to us. It was given. It was given to us. Yahweh breathed into us as a gift, as a blessing, as a good thing that he gave to us. You didn't even do anything to get this breath of life. Yahweh just gave it to you. He just formed you and gave you life. You didn't answer any questions. You didn't pay him any money. That's why the Creator lets you know this in the book of Psalms, the 50th chapter. In Psalms 50, verse 7 says, Hear, O my people, and I will speak. And I will, O Yisrael, and I will testify against thee. I am Elohim, even thy Elohim. I will not reprove thee for thy sacrifices or thy burnt offerings to have been continually before me. I will take no bullock out of thy house, nor he-goats out of thy folds. For every beast of the forest is mine, and the cattle upon 1,000 hills. I know all the fowls of the mountains, and the wild beasts of the field are mine. If I were hungry, I would not tell thee, for the world is mine, and the fullness thereof. Will I eat the flesh of bulls or drink the blood of goats? Offer unto Elohim thanksgiving, and pay thy vows unto the Most High, and call upon me in the day of trouble. I will deliver thee, and thou shalt glorify me. But unto the wicked, Elohim saith, what hast thou to do to declare my statutes? Or that thou shouldest take my covenant in thy mouth? Seest thou hatest instruction, and cast my words behind thee. See, the Creator said the world belongs to him. Everything is his. He doesn't need us. We need him. And he said, offer unto Elohim thanksgiving. That's what we should be doing. Offering unto Yahweh thanksgiving. He didn't have to breathe the breath, the spirit of life into us. He made that choice. That's why he was grieved during the days of Noah, because man was wicked and he was grieved. Like, my goodness, I made this man in my image and in my likeness, and he's repugnant. He is reprobate. He's become a complete opposite of what I wanted him to be. I made him in my image and my likeness so he could choose whichever he wants to choose. Just like I chose to give him life, he could choose to reject this life. Well, if you choose to reject the life that Yahweh gives you before it's your time, then you're living in a way that is spiritually unhealthy. Look in Proverbs, the 3rd chapter. See, if, as it was taught last week, when it was brought forth about the blood, the life is in your blood. The blood is your life. Well, if you want this life to remain, if you want this life to sustain and to be given its best opportunity to continue, then we have to feed ourselves with the right food. And in Proverbs, the 3rd chapter, the 1st verse says, my son, forget not my law, but let thine heart keep my commandments. For length of days and long life and peace shall they add to thee. Let not mercy and truth forsake thee. Bind them about thy neck. Write them upon the table of thine heart. So shall you find favor and good understanding in the sight of Elohim and man. Trust in Yahweh with all thine heart, and lean not to thy own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths. Be not wise in thy own eyes. Fear Yahweh and depart from evil. It shall be health to your navel and marrow to your bones. This word of Yahweh is your food for your spirit. And the spirit is your life. It is what Yahweh has given you to be alive. if he take away this spirit, then your life is gone. So we have to feed our spirit properly. What does it say in the book of Ezekiel? The 3rd chapter. Verse 1, moreover, he said unto me, Son of man, eat that thou findest. Eat this roll and go speak unto the house of Israel. And this was a vision that Yah gave Ezekiel, but this roll that he had to eat was the word of Yah. So I opened my mouth, and he caused me to eat that roll. And he said unto me, Son of man, cause thy belly to eat, and fill thy bowels with this roll that I give thee. Then did I eat it, and it was in my mouth as honey for sweetness, because the word of Yah should be sweet. The word of Yah should be good to you. And we got to eat the whole roll. That's what Yahweh is letting us know. And this is how you feed your spirit. Why do you think Yahweh said this in the book of Isaiah, the 55th chapter? Verse 1, ho, every one that thirsteth, come ye to the waters. And he that hath no money, come ye buy and eat. Come ye buy wine and milk without money and without price. Wherefore do you spend money for that which is not bread? Why do you labor for that which satisfies not? Hearken diligently unto me, and eat that which is good, and let your soul delight itself in fatness. Incline your ear, and come unto me. Hear, and your soul shall live. And I will make an everlasting covenant with you, even the sure mercies of David. But you need to eat this bread. This word of Yah is for your spirit, because you want your spirit to remain healthy. You want your spirit to remain undefiled. You want your spirit to be clean. You want your spirit to be fed properly. And we have been destroying our spirits, defiling our spirits, feeding our spirits with straight garbage. And what's some of the garbage we've been feeding our spirits with? Let me show you. In the book of Isaiah 59, verse 1. Behold, Yah's hand is not shortened, that it cannot save, neither his ear heavy, that it cannot hear. But your iniquities have separated between you and your Elohim, and your sins have hid his face from you, that he will not hear. For your hands are defiled with blood, and your fingers with iniquity. Your lips have spoken lies, your tongue hath muttered perverseness. None calleth for justice, nor any pleadeth for truth. They trust in vanity and speak lies. They conceive mischief and bring forth iniquity. This is what we've been feeding our spirits. Vanity. Yes, we are in captivity. Yes, we have been taught wrong. Yes, we have been ignorant and been given into a land that we know not. And yes, our ancestors, our forefathers, our parents are at fault for why we are in this place. But once you come to the realization, to the fact to the understanding of how to choose right and wrong, it is on you now. It's on you now. Your spirit don't belong to you. The spirit that is inside of you, that is flowing through you, belongs to Yahweh. So your spirit is actually telling you what is right all the time. But you are making a decision to listen to it or to not listen to it. You're making that decision. Your spirit is telling you every single day, that don't look right. That don't sound right. But the more you defile yourself, the more you silence that spirit. Look what it says in Jeremiah, the 17th chapter. Verse 5. We're going to start at the 5th verse. Cursed be the man, thus saith Yahweh, cursed be the man that trusteth in man and maketh flesh his arm, and whose heart departeth from Yahweh. Why is this man cursed? He's cursed because he didn't trust in Yahweh with all his heart. He trusted in man. And a lot of people run around, walk around, talk around the town talking about, I don't trust in no man. But they also don't keep the Sabbath day. A lot of people say they don't trust in no man, but they also don't keep the law. So I don't go for all this I don't trust in man talk if you don't got the evidence to prove you trust in Yahweh, or you just don't want to listen to the servant of the Creator. But he said, thus saith Yah, cursed be the man that trusteth in man and maketh flesh his arm. When you make the writers, when you try to debate the children of the Most High, and you say you're keeping the law wrong because I read in this Greek Bible, and I read in this Muslim Bible, and I read in this Latin Bible, that's not the translation. How are you going to talk about a translation? How the translation going to change the law? Yahweh's law don't change. A translation, if it changed the law, then it lied. Yahweh don't change. You could trust in man when you start going off of translation. You got to go off of what Yahweh said. And make it flesh his arm, whose heart depart from Yah. See, what did Yahweh say in Proverbs 4:23? He said, keep thy heart with all diligence, for out of it are the issues of life. And if you do not protect your heart, then you do not protect your life. And what are you not protecting if you're not protecting your life? That spirit. You are allowing the spirit that Yahweh lets you borrow, the spirit that Yahweh lets you lease, finance, rent, however you want to say it. It's on loan. It don't belong to us. And Yahweh already let you know you can only have it for at maximum 120 years. And how are we going to spend these maximum 120 years? Yahweh said, you cursed if you let your heart depart from Yah. Verse 6. For he shall be like the heath in the desert, and shall not see when good comes, but shall inhabit the parched places in the wilderness. and a salt land and not inhabited. That's how you want to spend your maximum 120 years in a parched place amongst salt in the wilderness. But verse 7 states, blessed is the man that trusteth in Yahweh, whose hope Yahweh is. See, you can't never put down a man that hopes in Yah. He can fall down, but he gonna get back up because he hope in Yahweh. Yahweh live forever. Yahweh is righteous. There is nothing too hard for Yahweh. So Yahweh is with this man who hopes in him. Why? Because he knows Yahweh is the king. Yahweh is the life giver. Yahweh is the one who can redeem you. Yahweh, he just said, when you die, you go to sleep. You take your rest. And he also told you he could raise you back up. So you could hope in Yahweh. And you're blessed if you do. Blessed is the man that trusteth in Yahweh, whose hope Yahweh is. For he shall be as a tree planted by the rivers or by the waters, and that spreadeth out her roots by the river, and shall not see when heat come, but her leaf shall be green, and shall not be careful in the year of drought, neither shall cease from yielding fruit. But verse 9 says, the heart is deceitful above all things and desperately wicked. Who can know it? Your heart is desperately wicked, which means what? It's going to trick you. Your heart is going to deceive you. Your heart is going to con you, play you, and get you messed up. And there is only one way to beat your heart. There's only one way to have more wins than losses with your heart. Because don't get it mistaken, you ain't never gonna win all the time with your heart. Your heart gonna get you. It's gonna get you. Yahweh called his servant David perfect. But this man David, he got a loss to his heart. Yahweh said Solomon is the wisest man ever, but he had losses to his heart. Yahweh said there is not a just man that doeth good and sinneth not, because you will have some losses because of that heart. Moses was the most faithful man in all of Yah's house, but he suffered some losses due to his heart. Job, who Yah said was perfect, had to get some losses because of his heart. So don't get it mistaken. You're going to lose once in a while to your heart, but there's only one way to have more wins than losses. There's only one way to have a cleaner heart than a dirtier heart. There's only one way to keep your heart protected, to keep your heart with all diligence. There's only one way to do it. And the only way to do it is in the book of Isaiah, the 57th chapter. And why do you need to keep that heart? Because out of it are the issues of life. And this life is dependent upon your spirit. And what are you giving your spirit? And Isaiah 57 verse 15 is the answer to how you protect this heart. It says, for thus saith the high and lofty one, that inhabiteth eternity, whose name is holy. I dwell with the high and holy place, with him also that is of a contrite and humble spirit, to revive the spirit of the humble and to revive the heart of the contrite ones. For I will not contend forever, neither will I always be wroth, for the spirit should fail before me and the souls which I have made. And why? Because he's not fighting with you forever. He'll move on and keep it pushing. And you got to go. But this spirit, this belongs to the Creator. And if you want your spirit to be healthy and strong, then we got to have a humble spirit. Humble ourselves, a contrite heart. Look what it says in the book of Hosea, the 10th chapter. Verse 12 reads, sow to yourselves in righteousness, reap in mercy, break up your fallow ground, for it is time to seek Yahweh, till he come and rain righteousness upon you. Ye have plowed wickedness, ye have reaped iniquity, ye have eaten the fruit of lies, because you did trust in your way, in the multitude of your mighty men. But Yahweh is letting you know, break up that fallow ground, that hard heart. Break it. Humble yourself. And humble yourself, because then your spirit will be humbled. Then you will allow the light that is in you, that Yahweh gave you, to shine. And you will be able to see what he actually gave you. You will be able to understand that this spirit, it charges your life. It directs you. It motivates you. But what are you feeding it? In the book of Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter, verse 58 reads, if you will not observe to do all the words of this law, which are written in this book, that thou mayest fear this glorious and fearful name, Yahweh thy Elohim, then Yahweh will make thy plagues wonderful, and the plagues of thy seed even great plagues, and of long continuance, and sore sickness, and of long continuance. Moreover, he will bring upon thee all the diseases of Egypt, which thou was afraid of, and they shall cleave unto thee. Also every sickness and every plague, which is not written in the book of this law, them will Yahweh bring upon thee, until thou be destroyed. We don't want to be sick and cursed forever. Because why? Because that sucks. That's why. Plain out and simple. It's terrible to be just, I got to live cursed forever. And why am I doing that? Because I don't want to do what Yahweh said? Because I don't want to follow what Yahweh said? Because I don't want to walk in the paths of Yah? I got to deal with hell my whole life? Look what it says in Psalms 90. in verse 1. Yahweh, thou hast been our dwelling place in all generations. Before the mountains were brought forth, or ever thou hast formed the earth and the world. Even from everlasting, thou art Elohim. Thou turnest man to destruction, and sayest, return, ye children of men. For 1,000 years in thy sight are but as yesterday, when it is past, and as a watch in the night. Thou carriest them away as with a flood. They are as a sleep. In the morning they are like grass, which groweth up. In the morning it flourisheth, and groweth up. In the evening it is cut down, and withereth. For we are consumed by thy anger, and by thy wrath are we troubled. Thou hast set our iniquities before thee, our secret sins in the light of thy countenance. For all our days are passed away in thy wrath. We spend our years as a tale that is told. The days of our years are 60 years and 10, and by reason of strength they be 80 years. Yet is their strength, labor, and sorrow, for it is soon cut off, and we fly away. Who knoweth the power of thine anger? Even according to thy fear, so is thy wrath. So teach us to number our days, that we may apply our hearts unto wisdom. Return, O Yahweh, how long? And let it repent thee concerning thy servants. O satisfy us early with thy mercy, that we may rejoice and be glad all our days. Make us glad according to the days wherein thou hast afflicted us, and the years wherein we have seen evil. Let thy work appear unto thy servants, and thy glory unto thy children. And let the beauty of Yahweh our Elohim be upon us, and establish thou the work of our hands upon us. Yea, the work of our hands, establish thou it. Yahweh, we need him to allow us to have some rest and happiness and joy, because the days of our years are spent in his wrath. And why? Because we are full of iniquity, full of sin, full of foolishness and vanity. And Yahweh is pleading and crying out and calling out to us to just return unto him. That's why Moses said in verse 12, teach us to number, order, organize our days. And if we learn to order our days, we can apply our hearts unto wisdom instead of vanity, instead of iniquity, instead of evil. We can apply our hearts unto wisdom. And in applying our hearts into wisdom, you can feed your spirit with the word of the Creator. And you can get some happiness and joy in this life. Yahweh let us know in the book of Proverbs, the 29th chapter, the 18th verse, verse 18 of Proverbs 29 says, where there is no vision, the people perish. But he that keepeth the law, happy is he. Don't you Want to be happy? Your spirit is not going to allow you to be happy if you continue to defile it. You're not going to experience a great deal of happiness. Look what it says in the book of Leviticus, 26th chapter. Verse 14, it says, "But if you will not hearken unto me, and will not do all these commandments, and if you shall despise my statutes, or if your soul abhor my judgments, so that you will not do all my commandments, but that ye break my covenant, I will also do this unto you. I will even appoint over you terror, consumption, and the burning ague, that shall consume the eyes, and cause sorrow of heart, and ye shall sow your seed in vain, for your enemies shall eat it. And I will set my face against you, and ye shall be a slain before your enemies. They that hate you shall reign over you, and ye shall flee when none pursueth you." This is what happens when we walk away from Yah. We're dealing with terror, consumption, the burning ague, consumption of our eyes, sorrow of our heart, and we're working in vain. Doesn't that sound like oppression? Doesn't that sound like America? And people want to say that this 400 years is not over, that this ain't even the 400 years, and you ask them, well, when is the time? When is it over? Oh, when we return to Yah. That's not going to happen the way you think it's going to happen. Yahweh, he's going to get you. Yahweh's coming to get us. And returning and waiting for the whole nation to return unto the Creator is fantasy. Yahweh don't ever speak of the entire nation of Israel returning back to him, and that's what he's waiting for to come deliver us. Yahweh says something on the contrary in the book of Ezekiel, the 20th chapter. And what are we dealing with? Your spiritual health. What are you feeding your spirit? And we can't be feeding our spirit lies and rebellion. We have to feed our spirit the word of Yah. In Ezekiel 20, verse 33 reads, "As I live, saith Yahweh Elohim, surely with a mighty hand and with a stretched out arm and with fury poured out, will I rule over you. And I will bring you out from the people, and will gather you out of the countries wherein ye are scattered, with a mighty hand and with a stretched out arm, and with fury poured out. And I will bring you into the wilderness of the people, and there I will plead with you face to face, like as I pleaded with your fathers in the wilderness of the land of Egypt. So will I plead with you, saith Yahweh Elohim. And I will cause you to pass under the rod, and I will bring you into the bond of the covenant, and I will purge out from among you the rebels, and them that transgress against me. I will bring them forth out of the country where they sojourn, and they shall not enter into the land of Israel. And ye shall know that I am Yahweh." Why? Because he's not letting no rebels in his house. Because all the rebels are coming out, and all the rebels will be purged, which means all of Israel ain't going to turn to Yah. And Yahweh ain't waiting for all of Israel to turn to him. Yahweh is only waiting for his judgment to come forth. What he has already decreed, what he has already said will happen, that's the only thing you should be waiting for. Don't feed your spirit with these lies that they tell you that this ain't the time of our deliverance. If this ain't the time of our deliverance, if we're not about to come out of here, if the 400 years is not coming to an end, where's your hope? That's what Jeremiah said. Blessed is the man that trusts in Yahweh, whose hope Yahweh is, who maketh Yahweh his hope. Yeah, what is these people that say that our deliverance isn't coming? What are they hoping in? They're hoping in Israel to return to Yah. Look what Yahweh said. This is how you get spiritually healthy. In Isaiah the 44th chapter, verse 1, reads, Yet now hear, O Yaakov my servant, and Yisrael whom I have chosen. Thus saith Yahweh that made you, and formed you from the womb, which will help thee. Fear not, O Yaakov my servant, and thou Yeshurun whom I have chosen. For I will pour upon him that is thirsty, and floods upon the dry ground. I will pour my spirit upon thy seed, and my blessing upon thine offspring. You see, the spirit don't belong to us, but Yahweh is giving that spirit. He's giving that life. He's giving that water to those that are thirsty. And if you're not thirsty for the Creator, if you're not thirsty for life, then you're not going to receive the best of life. You're not going to enjoy the greatest of life. Yahweh said he's going to put it upon your blessing, your offspring. Verse 4, and they shall spring up among the grass as willows by the water courses. And this is when you know somebody is trying to live a good life. This is when you know somebody is trying to apply their hearts under wisdom. This is when you know somebody is trying to magnify the only one that should be magnified. In verse 5, one shall say, I am Yahweh's. That's a person that done got a clue. That's a person that done woke up. That's a Hebrew that done realized who they are. I am Yahweh's. Then another shall call himself by the name of Jacob, Yaakov. That's somebody that knows who their ancestors are, that knows that they not black, that they not African American, but they know they got an ancestor. They got a family. They have a lineage. They have descendants. They call themselves by their father Jacob. And another shall subscribe with his hand unto Yahweh and surname himself by the name of Yisrael. Why? Because they want their spirit fulfilled. They want their spirit clean. They want their spirit alive. And they want to continue to feed it with the right food, which is the word of Yah. That's how you get your spirit together. People don't want to change their name. They want to keep their name John and Joe and Jack and Maybell and Billy. But who are those people? Who's Johnson and who's Brown and who's Richardson and who's Williamson and who are these people? These are your slave masters. These are the tags on your toes. And where do they put toe tags? On dead bodies. Because your spirit has left you. Go to the book of Ezekiel, the 37th chapter. Look what he said to us in verse 14. Well, let's start at verse 12. Therefore, prophesy and say unto them, thus saith the Master Yahweh, behold, O my people, I will open your graves and cause you to come up out of your graves and bring you into the land of Israel. Well, where are your graves at then? If you got to get your graves opened and come to the land of YIsraEL, that means the United States of America is your grave. That means Jamaica is your grave. That means the United Kingdom is your grave. That means these places that call you black, that call you African American, that call you Afro-Cuban, that call you Afro-Latino, and Afro this and Afro that, and Negro this and Negro that, colored this and colored that, coon this and coon that. These are your graves. That's not the place where you are living. It's the place where your spirit has been suffocated, oppressed, put down. And Yahweh said he's going to open your graves and bring you up out of your graves. And he, verse 14, and shall put my spirit in you, and you shall live, and I shall place you in your own land. Then shall you know that I am Yahweh. Then you shall know that I, Yahweh, have spoken it and performed it, saith Yahweh. This is living, being redeemed, being saved by Yah. I remember sitting in a class years ago under Mowreh IshYAH, and he was telling us the difference between heaven and hell. And he said, you in hell right now, because we are. This is where we at. Hell. The grave, that's where hell is. It's the grave. But Yahweh is so merciful, is so loving. Look what Yahweh said he's going to do, even in captivity. In the book of Deuteronomy, the 30th chapter, verse 1 reads, and it shall come to pass, when all these things are come upon thee, the blessing and the curse, which I have set before you, and you shall call them to mind among the nations, whither Yahweh the Elohim have driven thee. You see, he has already written, already spoken, already decreed, already prophesied, already made it so that even in the place where you have been driven to, you're going to call Yahweh to mind. And when you call him to mind, the elect few that will call the Creator to mind, he said in verse 2, and shall return to Yahweh, to Yahweh your Elohim, and shall obey his voice according to all that I command thee this day, thou and thy children, with all thy heart and with all thy soul, that then Yahweh the Elohim will turn thy captivity and have compassion upon thee, and will return and gather thee from all the nations whither Yahweh thy Elohim have scattered thee. See, he's letting you know, when you call him to mind, when you start remembering who you are, and when you start keeping these laws, when that time comes, that's the time that he comes to get you. And just because everybody's not returning to Yah, don't mean he's not coming. He's coming. Because this remnant that he's talking about is the only ones he's waiting for. And he knows when you're going to wake up. He knows when his remnant's going to wake up. Because he decreed them to wake up at a certain time. And how do we know this? It's in the book of Malachi. The ones that Yahweh know is going to wake up, know is going to be revived, are the ones that are feeding their spirit. The ones that are thirsty for Yah's roll, that are thirsty for Yah's water, that are hungry for Yah's food. And what is that? It's the word of Yah. See, this is the remnant that he's speaking about in the book of Malachi, the 3rd chapter, the 15th verse. And now we call the proud happy. Yea, they that work wickedness are set up. Yea, they that tempt Elohim are even delivered. Then they that feared Yahweh spake often one to another. And Yahweh hearkened and heard it. And a book of remembrance was written before him for them that feared Yahweh and that thought upon his name. This book of Yah, these holy scriptures, the so-called Old Testament, this was designed for the ones that fear Yahweh. That's why the ones that don't fear Yah make this book all kind of weird, say all kind of weird things, get all kind of strange statutes. But the ones that fear Yah, the ones that think upon his name, the ones that are feeding their spirit to become healthy, to be revived, oh yeah, they see what's truly in the book of the Most High. And what's truly in the book of the Most High is life. What's truly in the book of the Most High is light. And you're not going to be able to have life without Yah's word. And even if you go away and go to that long home, like Yah said, if you was a servant of the Creator, if you was walking in Yah's light and his righteousness, look what Job said in the book of Job, the 19th chapter. In Job chapter 19, we'll start reading at verse 19. It says, all my inward friends abhorred me, and they whom I love are turned against me. My bone cleaveth to my skin and to my flesh, and I am escaped with the skin of my teeth. Have pity on me, have pity upon me, O ye my friends, for the hand of Elohim have touched me. Why do you persecute me as Elohim, and are not satisfied with my flesh? Oh, that my words were now written. Oh, that they were printed in a book, that they were graven with an iron pen and laid in the rock forever. For I know that my Redeemer liveth, and that he shall stand at the latter day upon earth. See, that statement lets you know Job trusted in Yah. Job was just like what it said in Jeremiah 17. Blessed is the man that trusts in Yah, whose hope Yahweh is. And Job said, oh, that my words were now written. Oh, that they were printed in a book. And Job said this, not cognizant of the fact, not aware of the fact that his words were being written. And ask yourself, who wrote them? This is a spiritual world. Who even told this to a man to write it down? It had to be a servant of Yah. Yahweh had to have given these words to his servant to write it down. Oh, that my words were now written. Oh, that they were printed in a book, that they were graven with an iron pen and the lead in the rock forever. For I know that my Redeemer liveth. See, he had to trust in Yah to know that his Redeemer liveth and that he shall stand in the latter day upon the earth. And though after my skin worms destroyed his body, yet in my flesh shall I see Elohim, whom I shall see for myself, and mine eyes shall behold, and not another, though my reins be consumed within me. But ye should say, why persecute we him, seeing the root of the matter is found in me? See, Job knew that Yahweh can raise him back up because his hope is in Yah. Now, that's how you feed your spirit, with Yahweh, knowing that this life, it belongs to Yah. That spirit, it belongs to Yah, and he can put it back in you even after the worms consume you. That's how you feed your spirit, with the word of the Creator, with Yah's hope. Hope in the Creator. Know that he will stand and judge this earth and bring the righteous back. Look in Daniel, the 12th chapter, verse 1. And at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince, with standards for the children of thy people. And there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was, since there was a nation even to that same time. And at that time thy people shall be delivered, everyone that shall be found written in the book. And many of them that sleep in the dust of the earth shall awake, some to everlasting life. Why? Because Yahweh is going to put the spirit on them and in them that will allow them to live forever, because they were righteous. Even though they went to sleep in the dust of the earth, but just like Job, their hope is in Yahweh. And some to everlasting shame and contempt. And they that be wise shall shine as the brightness of the firmament. And they that turn many to righteousness as the stars forever. See, that's the kind of person you want to be. You can't
90 seconds
feed people with good spiritual food if your spirit is defiled, if your spirit is darkened, if your spirit is muddled with foolishness. How are you going to feed people? How are you going to be wise and turn many to righteousness? You can't. But Yahweh knows that there are some that will. And that's those that have a good spiritual health. Because they let what be their hope? Yahweh is their hope. In the book of Psalms 16, as we wrap this up. Psalm 16. Start reading verse 7. I will bless Yahweh, who hath given me counsel. My reins also instruct me in the night seasons. I have set Yahweh always before me, because he is at my right hand. I shall not be moved. See, this man David, his hope was in Yah, which is why he was able to say what is following. Therefore my heart is glad, and my glory rejoiceth. My flesh also shall rest in hope. For thou wilt not leave my soul in hell, neither will you suffer thy Holy One to see corruption. Thou wilt show me the path of life. In thy presence is fullness of joy. At thy right hand there are pleasures forevermore. All we got to do is trust in Yahweh with our heart, our whole heart, and lean not to our own understanding. Trust in Yahweh and we'll be blessed. Because if you trust in Yah and make Yahweh your hope, then the best kind of life is before you. You might have to wait for it a little bit. You might have to go to sleep before you see it. But guaranteed, as Yah's servants has already let us know, you can wake up and see with your own eyes the glory, the beauty, and the joy that comes with trusting in Yah and living for the word of the Most High and allowing Yah's Spirit to be your guide. And what do you need for that Spirit? You need the word of Yah. And I hope that's what you receive in this program today. And until tomorrow, Yahweh loves you very much. And so do I. Shalom.
Deep sleep over the black people in America, call us the lost sheep. What you know about a tall tale sending you to hell? Disciples got the truth twisted like bread cells. What you know about an Ishmaelite, jealous of an Israelite? Psalms 83 and 6, go see the light. It's revolution time. Get your scriptures, I'm fired, aimed and ready for the kill. Daniel locked it sealed. Read the truth